Now, one of the things, though, that we need to see is that there are preventative things so that you don't have to go back, right? I mean, in other words, the way you walk, the way you sit,
yes.
Some exercise. Although I would imagine, when you were talking at first about getting hit by another car,
yes.
I envision these football players. I mean, these guys take a beating.
Yes.
Don't they? I mean, sometimes even with the shoulder pads and everything else. I mean, those bodies take a lot of beating.
But if you do the physics calculations, if let's say you're hit head on by someone traveling 300 pounds and they're running at a speed of say 15 miles an hour, whatever the speed is, it is completely different from a vehicle that's thousands of pounds that combines. In fact, there have been a number of calculations. Like let's take a bus or a dump truck. If you got hit by something really heavy, a dump truck or a bus, the research was done by an orthopedist, a bus traveling 3 miles an hour imparts the same damage as a smaller vehicle traveling 40 miles an hour. The idea of mass and acceleration is really important when you think about it. And that's what makes the car accidents so compounding, because it's completely different. It's on a factor, and the physics then of the forces that are imparted, they don't even compare. So you can imagine if I get run into by a 300-pound linebacker going boom, you can picture how that would hurt. But you start adding cars in there and the mass associated with those vehicles and the rate of acceleration, the quickness. I mean, if you look at, we talk about the whiplash, it's in just such a small fraction of a second. It's within 300 milliseconds. So that's in less than a third of a second, the entire whipping of the head forward and backward has occurred. And if you add that to a second, well, let's say you get rear-ended and then pushed into the car ahead of you, that whiplash that occurred, and quite frankly, you probably won't have a recollection of the entire experience. You might just have a recollection of your head starting to come forward towards your steering wheel, but you don't remember, or you don't even think that your head went backwards first, but it did. You see, you lose consciousness.
But the point that I was trying to make as well is like a professional athlete hopefully is going to be tuning his body
Yes.
or her body to a point where they can take some of these things. And so in that sense, if you are taking care of yourself, not to say that you wouldn't need help being hit by a car, but I'm saying that you would at least in your life say, okay, I'm taking care of myself properly. And most people don't.
Most people don't. So yeah, so I would say we need to rethink how we live our lives. And I would contend we need to drink more water.
All right, we're gonna come back.
Okay,
give us some steps.
All right,
we're gonna be back, and we're gonna continue with Dr. David Day, and he's gonna tell us some of these very important tips and on maybe how to better take care of yourself. All right, we'll be back here to Mars Hill Today. All right, we're back to Mars Hill Today, and we've had the pleasure the past few broadcasts to have Dr. David Day sharing with us his testimony and his love for the Lord, and the fact that he's a worshiper and a musician, and actually makes guitars, and showed us here in the last program how that relates to the field of work that he is doing as being a doctor of chiropractic care. And here we have this demonstration here. We're talking about everything coming to the neck and even our pulse and the heart. And then I was asking the question about the fact that how can we, if we were to do a better job, if we were to eat properly, if we were to sit properly, if we walk properly, if we did proper kind of exercises, we could then stay healthier and not go see any doctor.
That's conceivably possible. However, the problem is we're living in a gravity-rich environment. Our lives are stressful. We drive. I mean, you look how far you drive every day. The world that people live in needs some attention and care. So my contention is that people should periodically get their spine checked. The only question is how frequent. And that depends on how diligent you are with the home care. For instance, if your neck curve is too straight, and the only way you're going to know this is if you have an x-ray. You can't tell, and I've stopped even trying to guess on patients. I take x-rays of the neck to look and see what's happened to the curve. If your neck is too straight and you never get that thing taken care of, you're going to cause premature disintegration, and this neck is going to deteriorate, and you're going to have problems whether you know it or not, okay? So if you can get your neck recalibrated, now I have my patients whose neck have gotten too straight, I have them actually lay on a home traction device. Now they have to do it 20 minutes a day, and if you can imagine, some people don't, okay? But the people who do don't need to come in as often, right? The people who don't have to come in more often because they're not doing what they should do. Just like I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight now. I've gotten myself I'm heavier than I really need to be. So I need to release some weight. So, I'm in the process of doing that. It means I'm not going to eat ice cream here until I lose some weight. Now, I love ice cream, and I would eat ice cream at least once a day. Okay, so for me, it represents a commitment that I'm saying, you know, I'm not going to do that now. I need to drop the weight that I need to. So I model health for people. So I would say we need to do something consistently. There are some people who advocate getting your spine checked once a week. There are other people who say once a year. My favorite frequency for people whose lives are pretty full and busy and stressful, I would say every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks, something like that. Come in, get checked. What'll happen is you'll come in feeling fine, and you say, just check my spine, see if there's anything that needs to be taken care of, and and it just takes a few minutes. See, that's the other thing. If you're coming in on more of a wellness concept of chiropractic, then it doesn't take as much work. It doesn't hurt at all. It's actually an enjoyable experience. You come in and we give each other a hug, and it's just a fantastic experience.
Well, now, what is the difference here between what we find at massage therapy? And of course, when you say massage, I think a lot of people have all kind of connotations. Some just downright evil. Right. Others saying, you know, it's one of those things for people in the upper classes. Is it something that's worthwhile or not?
I think it can be, right? It's the sort of thing now, and I mean, if you need a referral, somebody, you know, I've got some people that I trust to know, because in that field, probably even more so than the chiropractic field. But there's. But
is it related? I mean, your field's related to the massage or not?
All right, here's back to philosophy.
Okay.
If you are having lots of problems and you're going to a massage therapist to fix the problems, I wonder if you might not be getting to the root cause, right? Because if you have a lot of tight muscles and they go, oh man, this is tight, so I want to go to massage, and they massage you and it feels better, but then it comes back. Is there really something more going on that needs to be addressed? So I would say, if that's how you're using massage therapists, maybe there's a chiropractic problem or something that should really be explored further. Okay. However, if you're going, let's say you have a stressful life and you say, you know what, I feel this tension in my stomach, I want to go, and maybe I'll go once a month and get a massage, and I can spend an hour and just relax and let the stress dissipate, and just as part of my life, I'll drink water, I'll do that. You're kind of having it part of your overall health commitment. I think it's a wonderful thing. And I would rather massage actually be used in that way, because if you're using it to treat a problem and you're not getting your nerve system checked, probably there's a deeper situation.
Let me ask you a question here out of left field, because you say you didn't tell me you were going to ask this.
No.
But there's a lot of discussions nowadays about what they call Eastern, ways of helping people, acupuncture, all these kind. I mean, where do you stand on some of these things? And as a believer, because sometimes as believers, they, of course, acupuncture, and there are a lot of believers that I know that I said, well, I've got an acupuncture treatment coming up, and I don't know what to think of that. Now, I know that within that is sort of a religious thing, and that some people take it from a religious standpoint. In other words, they actually are talking about this chakra and this zone and all these kinds of things. And then some people are just saying, no, it's just a medical procedure and it's just an acupuncture. What are your thoughts on that?